Following the full Ironman European Championships in Frankfurt last weekend, where Christian Blumenfeld shocked us all, we had the 70.3 European champs in Tallinn today, and it was a cracking, dramatic, and unexpected race I can't wait to tell you about. Starting off with the men's race, they jumped into the water. Well, they ran into the water because of an unplanned move to a unique swim location that meant for the first 150 meters, pretty much all the way to the first buoy, they were not swimming. And this affected the race quite a bit, as there were lots of fast swimmers here, but there were also lots of fast runners, guys who are really good at running in the water, and it changed up everything, as some who weren't used to being in a certain pack now found themselves at the front of the race early on. And at the deepest point, it was apparently only 2.5 meters. So things split up really quickly early on, and after the first buoy when they started swimming, the race really stretched out. But it was a 22-year-old Hannes Butters that really stretched things out, and he went for it after the second buoy and hardly looked back. It was such an impressive performance considering the likes of Sam Dickinson, Justus Nieschlag, and Helle Gaines, guys who are in the Olympics, who are some of the best swimmers in the entire sport, weren't able to keep up with him at all. In fact, he got out with over a 30-second gap and then ended up maintaining that for such a long way on the bike. The group that came out close behind him was full of all those swimmers that I mentioned, but also a lot of firepower on the bike, especially considering they were all together, but they weren't able to make any inroads towards Hannes, even when the likes of Peter Hemrich, defending champ, joined them. Robert Callan joined them as well, but he didn't stick around long enough. He caught up to them quite quickly and then flew all the way to the front of the bike ride, where he joined Hannes for a little bit and helped him increase the gap to that main chase pack. And eventually, though, he had to leave Hannes because it's Robert Callan, and I think he's probably the best cyclist in our sport at the moment, and he broke another bike course record here with a 1:57 bike split, despite the fact that this course was 1.4 kilometers longer because they had to move that swim location. But I want to go back to Hannes for just a second so we don't forget about him. 22 years old, holding off till 70 Ks on the bike. I looked him up a little bit more to find out more about him, and apparently he did a sub-4 bike split at Challenge Roth this year, just doing the relay. So pretty impressive stuff, and a great swim biker, and I'm sure we'll be hearing his name much more. However, it was another youngster, even younger, who would end up stealing the day today. But going back to the race for a second, because there actually was a couple guys who broke away from that main chase group and got within a couple minutes of Robert and Hannes. And one of those guys included Leonard Arnold, who is a serious up-and-coming young guy as well. He ran a 1:08 when he ran 70.3 Switzerland earlier this summer, and he quickly, after dismounting his bike, got into the lead of this race. But there were a lot of strong runners coming from behind. A lot of those strong swimmers that I mentioned earlier happen to be incredible runners too. The likes of Sam Dickinson, Justus Nieschlag, Kevin McDowell was there also. But the one who nobody really expected or knew about, Anajatis Vitidos, he absolutely motored at the beginning of this run. He went at about a 3-minute K pace for the first few kilometers, and Helle Gaines talked after the race about trying to go with them, but just couldn't believe how fast they were going, saying that it felt like they were in another world triathlon race, and he had to let Anajatis go. Eventually, he clawed his way all the way up to the front of the race and met with Leonard Arnold. They didn't run together for too long before Anajatis started making these crazy tough attacks. Leonard managed to stay close enough for a little bit, but eventually the rubber band snapped and he got away. The commentators could not believe what they were saying, and they were thinking that he was making a huge mistake.
It's you can. This is literally the weirdest thing.
And the fact that he keeps looking over his shoulder, so he's not confident. Why? I don't understand why you wouldn't at this point just settle in.
However, it was Vitidos who had the last laugh and ran a 1:09 in the end to become the new European champion, smashing that run course record and smashing the overall course record. And just insane considering his age, 20 years old. Remember Gustav Eden when he won the 2019 Ironman 70.3 world champs at 23 years old, I think he might have a new young competitor coming up for that title. Leonard Arnold had a serious impressive second place here, considering he had food poisoning leading up into this race, and it looked like some of that was coming back after the race. He had a tough time keeping down some fluids, and then Yella Gaines ran a 1:12, which landed him in third place, starting off his long course career. Officially, we'll be seeing much more of him. Back to Panagiotis for a second. Somebody get this guy a T100 wildcard. I want to see much more of him. He didn't say what he was going to be doing next other than training more and training more. And I believe that he is coached by Brett Sutton, who is currently on a roll after Julie Duran's second at the Olympics. So what a race for this young guy, beating an absolutely stacked field. But we can move on now to the women's race, which was even more stacked than the men's field. A higher strength of field score here. It contained the likes of Kat Matthews, who's currently the favorite for the Pro Series with 2 perfect scores, was looking up to pick her first 70.3 win of the year. It was also, though, Solveig Lovseth, coming off of the Olympics, looking to really start her 70.3 career. A lot of people had her for the upset. Lisa Norden was also here. Tamara Jewett. It was going to be a cracker. So the women had to endure that long run into the water, and actually I think this affected their race more than it did the men's, because a lot of women took advantage of this and ended up in a position that they haven't often been before. The likes of Tamara Jewett getting into a great group with the likes of Kat Matthews. She would end up coming out in the end with her just over a minute down from the front. That doesn't always happen for her. Even for Kat Matthews, being a minute down was a fantastic place to be. But it was Carolyn Pohl of Germany, 29-year-old, ranked 28th in the world, with a long short course background, who's been having some steady long course results over the last couple of years, who got a big gap in the swim, just like Hannes did, where she probably shouldn't have, considering the swimmers in the field, such as Lauren Brandon, Kate Curran. It was absolutely remarkable to see. She got a 40-second gap coming out, and actually graced that quick mention she managed to find herself in with the likes of Lauren Brandon and that group, which is a brilliant swim for her. Behind them, as I said, Kat Matthews, Tamara Jewett coming out only a minute down. Ellen Spitzer, however, wasn't able to make that gap, and she's a big contender for the Pro Series. So she really lost out and ended up having not a good result here. But onto the bike, and Carolyn just kept pushing and pushing, and remarkably was maintaining her gap from Kat Matthews, who was keeping her close, but it was actually Sif Bendix Madsen, one of the fastest bikers in women's sport, who got closest to her, but never got close enough, and eventually that gap went back out, and she joined Kat Matthews, and the two rode the rest of the way together into T2. Now, coming off the bike, and Carolyn had a 2-minute lead over Kat and Sif, and she probably had no idea whether she was going to be able to hold off Kat, who was at best a 116 high, 117 low runner, which is so hard to hold off. Carolyn had never run under 122, but today she would pull off a 120 half marathon on such a hot day that had a lot of the men's race pull out, DNF, and so did a lot of the women, including the likes of Lisa Norden and Emily Morier, who were in the shout for the top 5, ended up having to pull out. And in the end, she actually outran Kat, finishing 3 minutes up on her and finishing sub 4 despite that extra long bike course, picking up her biggest win for her career. And it clearly meant everything to her, saying she had worked so hard in the last month for this one. Kat was gracious in the defeats and first to embrace her as she crossed the line, admiring the amazing gun-to-tape performance that it took to beat her. Like I said, she can usually run 116 high to 117 low, so she actually might have taken the win here if she was able to do that again. But she's raced so much this year, and you can't expect her to do that at every race. She still picked up some huge Pro Series points, and again solidifies that she's the favorite for this whole series. And she's got Nice coming up next, and we'll have the perfect block leading up into that one. Solveig Lovseth, the Norwegian, who people were thinking might pull off the upset, she finished a respectable 3rd place just after the Olympics. She's definitely going to be one to watch in long distance for the future. But I mean, we've got to go back to Carolyn Polk for a second because that was a special one. And we will not be forgetting her come 70.3 Worlds in Tampa in December. The Pro Series points didn't shake up too much this week at this race, but there's another chance at 70.3 Zell MC next week, which has another stellar start list, and actually quite a few from this race racing that one as well. And we'll see you here for that, where I'll cover it all. Hope you have a good one, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that join button down below to support this and keep it going. Thanks. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.